Hello and welcome to another episode of the Atomic Cast. Hello, my name is Tom, and I'm joined today by Bert. Say hello.
Hello.
Henry, say hi.
Hello.
I said say hi. Um, so
It was a
we
trap.
are here doing the Atomic Cast. We've missed a little while. I'll be honest, Christmas was busy and I couldn't be bothered. But we're back. Woo! So we're on episode 39. This is the 2023 wrap up. Again, it's a little bit late for 2023, but vibes in that, innit? So what we have done is we have pulled all of the data from Longshanks. We did this a couple of times, kind of METAWATChy style as we went through the year, but this is for the entire of 2023. So from January 1st, 2023 until January 1st, 2024. Pull all the data from longshanks.org. If you don't know, it's a lovely website that you can use to run your events on. Yeah, it makes running an event really easy. We're in no way affiliated with them. I just like it. I run it most of my events through there, and then it puts all the ratings and stuff into a big thing, and you can use them to look at stats and stuff and compare your rankings. A bit like an ELO system in chess, I guess, where it cares about your win-loss percentage against certain peoples. If you lose against good people, your rating is affected worse. Rating is affected less than if you lose against bad people, if that makes sense. So yeah, lose to good people better, win against good people even better. Yeah. So on Longshanks, there are two different ways of doing events. So you can do a rated event or an unrated event. We are choosing to use the rated events only because any old mug can go on and chuck up a casual game on there. So I use it to track like my casual games throughout the year. You can put them on, but if you flick it over to rated events, it don't count all those local casual games because that's not what we really care about. And then on our big stats database here, we have only used factions of 100 games played from the entire of 2023 in tournaments. Basically, anything under that is fairly. It's like one or two people using it. So we've got Army Lake Town, Black Riders, Fell Beings, and Mirkwood. A couple of like notable things that didn't make it to 100 games throughout the year on here. I looked at it with Lake Town. Army Lake Town was 84 games for the year. 40 of them were me. So that's what I mean by like one or two people could skew the list completely. Fell Beings is probably very similar with like Nat Sinclair. He uses them an awful lot. And yeah, so that's why we've left them out. So if you don't see your favorite faction on there, that's why. You need to go and play with it, please. But there is 6,000 games to look at roughly. About 1,000 at 500 points, about 1,200 at 600 points, 750 at 700 points, and about 1,200 at 800 points, and obviously the rest just kind of smattered around. So a fairly even spread across the points. But yeah. So that's where we're going from. Anyone got anything to say?
Surprised there aren't more games. There aren't more games at 750 at 700. To be honest, it always feels like that at that points level that MESBG is kind of geared around playing at, and now the modern community is kind of going, no, we really, really, really like low points games or many, many, many points more.
So I don't think that's the case. I think it's a logistics situation. If you want to run a 30-man tournament and have something close to a conclusive winner, you need to have at least 4 games. If you want to have 4 games, you need them to be maximum 2 hours. Therefore, you're playing 600 points or less.
Logic. I like it.
If you're trying to fit it all in one day, obviously. And then a lot of the 2-dayers are GBH 100s, which are ran by let's go with more experienced TOs and things, or people who are more set in their ways, who haven't adopted the Longshanks platform yet, or have got like funky twists to them. So I think Longshanks is it is in its elements doing small one dayers and things like that. So there are some inherent flaws with the system, but it's all good. But yeah, that's my reasoning for it. Might be wrong, but we'll find out. So just for funsies, these are the scenarios that were played. You can pretty immediately see the ones that everyone hates. So Heirlooms of Ages Past is down at 100 games played. Recon is 142. Controversial, because Recon is rapidly becoming one of my favorite scenarios. I used to hate it. I think once you get a greater appreciation for Recon, it becomes better. Storm the Camp on 151, that's good because that's crap. And Contest on 181. So
it does feel a lot of like scenarios are selected by hand or accidentally redrawn.
How dare you
possibly
suggest that tournament organizers would re-roll or handpick a scenario based on the fact that it's just a bit shit? The audacity to claim that a TO at a like one day event would look at Storm the Camp and go, well, actually, it's going to be full of draws. Next. How dare you? I was saying to Henry earlier, Contest is probably only that high up because I did my 100 through Longshanks and we played Contest. So that's like 30 odd games.
Yeah, it feels like all the kind of like fun, balanced scenarios, your kind of domination, fog, lords are kind of all the ones played the most. That's what people. Or is there a veto option on Longshanks?
Well, you just kind of say these are free to veto when you finish your game. Pop the scenario in as well.
Okay.
So like, yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you don't have to veto it. It's not too deep, but yeah. Yes, I think some of these are some of the better options, which is quite nice. If you really want to see and do some fun comparison stuff, take this, go across to the Last Alliance of Noobs and Men podcast, well, just YouTube channel, and take a look at their scenario tier list, and then compare it to this and see if everyone else agrees with them. There's a fun homework project for you.
It's a good watch.
Yeah, we like those lads. They're good boys. So yeah, I still can't get over Destroy the Supply, but it pisses me right off. Bloody Longshanks.
What?
So more fun tidbits. Got the most played factions here. So this is in order of like how many games played. So bearing in mind that I said there were 6,000 games played earlier. Mordor is just over 1,000 of them. So 1 in 6 games of MESBG at tournaments using Longshanks are played using Mordor, which is a lot.
It's kind of phenomenal, even if it is like it's the biggest army, it's the biggest faction list by an absolute mile. Like the options you have in there are truly vast, and the Witch King is just busted anyway. But even so, that is an unbelievable quantity of Mordor.
Yeah.
Minas Tirith being second is also the same. They also have. I think Minas Tirith is easily the second biggest army list.
Yeah.
Especially once you add in the supplement stuff. So you chuck in all the heroes from them. Also, Mordor, Minas Tirith, battle host boxes.
Yeah.
They are actually selling.
Yeah. Then you've got Rivendell and the Serpent Horde. So Rivendell being, just a fairly iconic faction. Serpent Horde, because it's really bloody good. Lothlorien, just also cool. Isengard, Battle Host box, fairly iconic faction. That's just vanilla Isengard as well, not Assault on Helm's Deep.
Or scouts. Yeah, that sounds surprising. It's still amazing how many events you can go to and just see that much like vanilla Rising Guard running around. I think people are kind of moving away from some legendary legions and going, hang on a moment. Crebain, good. Crossbows, good. Ballistas, good. Lurt's good. And you put all good stuff together, you can do okay. Shout out JHR.
who recently won an event with Assault and Helm's Deep.
Sure, why not?
Yes, and then Angmar, which is basically the Mordor Battle Host box. The Mordor Battle Host box, I still think is a better Angmar Battle Host box than it is a Mordor Battle Host box. But if you labeled it as Angmar, no one would buy it because no one knows what Angmar is. Halls of Frandy, Moray Goblins, Rohan, and then I included Riders of Theoden on here because they were the next one down, and basically Rohan in it. So that would put Rohan up at 792, so just underneath Rivendell.
It's testament to like how great some of the legions that come out actually are. The Rise of Theoden, like that's been around for what 3 years now.
Pre-COVID, isn't it?
3 or 4 years. Just that was before I discovered SBG. But I think Rise of Theoden was like just before COVID.
No, I think it's even further. I think it's a solid year PC. Might be wrong.
Okay.
But
there's testament to like how that legion came out and was busted, and people are still playing it. I think like 53%. People are just now kind of absolutely fine with it. It's still iconic. It's still just really, really, really cool. It's great to see it get that much representation.
2019.
2019.
January 2019. So 4 years ago.
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Have we had the new edition for like 6 years now?
What new edition?
Well, the kind of the new edition.
No, I don't.
Was that from?
I don't understand.
When we got the updated rulebook off the rulebook with Gandalf the White in it. Have we had that one for 5-6 years now?
Much longer than that, haven't we?
It still feels like 2 or 3 years ago.
No, do you mean the updated one with Sauron on it? Because that's
no.
Yeah. But you've lost me, mate.
No, I just wasn't ready for Rise of Theoden to be having their 5th birthday.
Yeah. I do not know when the Gandalf rulebook came out, but it's well old, mate.
2018, by the looks of it.
2018, awesome.
Well old, see? Well old. Told you. Anyway, yeah, that book came out. I was playing and going to tournaments when Gondor at War came out. It was not fun. It ruined everything for a little bit. In my opinion, I was very casual back then. But I was going to tournaments and I was playing 2 Riders of Theoden lists and 2 Return of the King lists. And at the time, Return of the King was obnoxious because you were like, why has it got a free lightsaber? That's not fair. And Riders of Theoden with gambling pre-nerf. So you just ran it all heroes and had a lovely time. Yeah, it was brutal. But yeah.
Surprised to see Halls of Thranduil that high.
Yes. All of the elf factions are really high, which is weird because no one likes elves. But yet, here they are.
Is that potentially just because you can get a box of Rangers and a Legolas and just play it like that, and maybe a Frandy?
Yeah, I imagine they're probably no, because they're really expensive, aren't they? Because the normal ones are resin. So unless people are proxy in Palace Guard or something, I don't know. They get
I think
allied
that-
around a lot as well, don't they? Actually, Halls of Frandy, because you take the Legolas from Halls of Frandle.
I think Palace Guard are plastic. I think they're like,
Palace Guard are plastic. The real elves are resin.
yeah.
They did it the wrong way around. But yeah. So what I've done here, this is a filthy 40k faction win rate.
That's the wrong game.
But the reason I popped this up on the screen is because Games Workshop on Warhammer Community do their own METAWATCH for 40k, and they do it for Age of Sigmar as well. And then I've basically just copied the parameters that we would use for that. So they say that anything that's above a 55% win rate and anything that's below a 45% win rate are wrong. Anything that's between 45 and 55 is A-OK. That is how the game is meant to be. But anything above that or below that is wrong. And also, this is fun because a lot of people moan, but like, oh, but 40k is just a horrible, unbalanced hellhole. Turns out it's not. So yeah, that's from November, by the way. But yeah, so they've got Eldar at the top, who are in red because they're 57%, and then Drakari at the bottom in 44 because they're red because they're bad. So we'll take that. Then we'll have a look at MESBG. Sorry, this graph's a bit wonk. I'm not good at graphic design. So I am gonna rattle these off. Please save too much comments until later. I'll happily accept a "ooh wow," but beyond that, we can go into more detail in a second. So, I really should have put the numbers on this graph. We have got Arnold up there 70%, then Survivors of Lake Town about 60, the Buildings around 60, Assault on Lothlorien around 60, Assault on Helm's Deep about 60, Serpent Horde about 60, Erebor Reclaimed about 60, Dragon Emperor just a bit lower on like 57, Farharad 57 or so, Corsairs 56, Dark Denizens of Mirkwood, it's the Spider Queen and her friends, about 55, with Goblin Town and Defenders of Helm's Deep.
Hey.
Then we're dropping into the guys that are like 55 and below. So you got Pits of Dol Guldur, Angmar, Riders of the Necromancer, the Shire, Riders of Theoden, the Easterlings, Canned, Lothlorien, Azog's Hunters, and Mordor. And then on to 50%. These are guys that are pretty much bang on. Is Misty Mountains, Halls of Thranduil, and Warrior Goblins. Just below those guys, you've got Dol Guldur, Fiefdoms, Iron Hills, Rivendell, the Rangers, and Numenor. A bit of Styria from Rohan thrown in there as well. And then everything else looks like it's like 45 or below, which is Azog's Legion, Barad-dûr, Ugluk Scouts, the Fellowship, Rangers of Mirkwood, Radagast's Alliance, Dead of Dunharrow, Isengard, Return of the King, lower than Dead of Dunharrow, and Khazad-dûm. Ooh, that's a lot of factions. So, applying 40k's logic, we've gone, I slot these in as well, sorry. Allies as well, just for added fun. So these are the allied contingents that are higher than, or would like qualify on their own. So I've got Mordor Harad at 246 games, has a 65% win rate. Harad in Mahud, 196 games and a 59% win rate. Rivendell Fellowship, 53%. Rivendell Numenor, 49%, and Azog Hunters Legion, 47%. So Mordor Harad, 65% win rate. Keep that in your brains. Because over here, we've got all the armies that were too high, and that would put them second on the highest number of win percentages of all the factions in the game. Mordor Harad.
I do like the Jake Rawson jokes about, yeah, Arnold's great. You just put it on the table and you just go like 4-2 or 5-1. He's not kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a better win percentage than going 4-2. That is busted as hell.
That is a 5-2 win rate, I think, is it?
Yeah.
70%. So that's 7 and 10. Isn't it?
Yeah, close
7
enough.
and 3. So words are hard, but yeah. Yeah, Arnor at the top there, 69% win rate. List is good.
You can't, yeah. You can't. It's the kind of thing where you can turn around and go, "Oh, it's so busted, it needs nothing." The list doesn't really do anything. It isn't. It isn't like you can take things away from it. It just sits there and is well-odd. There's lots of them, and it's well-odd. That's kind of what it does.
It's just lads, and they're all hard
You can't.
lads. It's a lot of hard boys.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Bert's
You
wet
can't
dream.
make it. Oh, school. You can't. Yeah, you can't just make them fight 3 or defense 5. Making them courage 1. They courage 1 with Harbinger around anyway. Doesn't really do anything. Like, all you can really do is just like neuter Malbeth in some way, but then making it like a 6-up or making it a 3-inch range just completely wrecks the army. It's very, very, very hard to balance. Or just make all the warriors like a point more expensive. It's also not one of those lists that people really complain about. No one goes away and goes, "Oh, I had such an impressive game against Arnor."
You know what that is?
They just,
No one's played it.
yeah.
Henry, have you ever played against Arnor?
I have played with Arnor-ish, like just casually, and it is just like it's just lads, just a bunch of lads. They sit there, D6, just die.
D6 and one in for it, like 1/3 of them stand back up again.
Yeah.
If you roll average. Survivors of Lake Town is next on the list with 61% win rate, despite my best efforts to tank that in our Swindon League, where I couldn't work out how to do good with Survivors of Lake Town. It's just not my thing, mate. They just die. Quite good at high points. They have lots of lovely tools in their toolbox that they can use. If you're a toolbox type of player, Survivors of Lake Town is a good one for you. They also ally really nicely into things like Halls of Frandor and Iron Hills to pump the numbers up massively. Just a single warband with like a captain and a bunch of spears, or Hilda or something, bunch of spears, can massively pump your numbers up. It's my thoughts and feelings.
I mean,
Go for it.
I was going to say, like every time I've played against them, apart from like obviously local Swindon League, it's just like they seem to be allied in with something. So like Halls of Frandy, or like there's an Arable Reclaimed like foreign in there or something. So it's just like they just slip in very nicely. You know.
I think it's one of those lists, right, with all due respect to our esteemed podcast host, that if it's played by someone who's played Survivors quite a lot, the list can be absolutely brutal. However, if it's piloted by somebody who is relatively new to it or hasn't got that much experience with it, the lads are defense 5 and like fight 3. They do die. Bard is on an ordinary horse. If the horse goes down, and like, or you misposition Bard not near the kids, he's suddenly sort of fight 5, no free heroic combat. It is fragile, but if you position it really well, I think that's one of those lists where I don't really have an issue with it, because it rewards the really, really, really good pilots. It's got a very high ceiling, but also it can get tanked. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, I never used it and then just chucked it straight into the league. Yeah, and it's also, I think it falls into that kind of toolbox category. It's the antithesis of Arnor, right? So Arnor's just lads. You're managing a battle line. You're kind of using your troops effectively. Your heroes aren't really doing an awful lot. They're there to kind of keep your troops around. Arvidor, you can do a little bit if you need to, but other than that, you're fine. Survivors is almost the opposite. Your lads aren't doing anything. They're probably going to slowly die. That's basically their entire job. Where you then use Gandalf, Bilbo, Bard to kind of pick out key targets and do combats and things where you need to be. They are borderline direct opposites, and I think I now know which one of these I am better with. For reference, Army of Lake Town and Black Riders both sit between Arnor and Survivors of Lake Town, if they had enough people. They are both up there. The next one down is the Bayonings. So that had 338 games. The first one with quite a few. That has a 60% win rate over all of those games.
We would love
Seems
to see
about
the
right.
distribution for like time in terms of like before like April, May, and then afterwards. I feel like 336 of them would have happened before May, and then it's just like one lad set up a rated event in his garage and just played against his friend twice, and then they gave up because it got boring.
Well, boy, do I have a slide for you later. I have that information for you.
Yeah.
He's
like, I think it was like end of our spring league. Henry and I played a game with Bears, and I think we both hated it.
Yeah.
It was a really horrible game, and it's like obviously pre FAQ, but I think people just got bored of them. I don't think they didn't really get worse till August. I think people just got bored of them.
There's a really they went on a really fun spiral of like when they first came out, people looked and went, "Oh, that's a cute, fun, fluffy Legion." And then Jay turned up to West and went, "Nah, bitch, it's really good. Watch." And everyone went, "Oh shit, it is. Yeah, you're right." Then people went, "Cool, I'm gonna get that." Everyone started using it suddenly. It started winning some things. People were like, "Oh god, I want that now." It became the hotness. And then people went, "Yeah, but every single game is exactly the same, innit?" And then
it was the doubles event over in Bristol, wasn't it? Where what was it like 25% of the field turned up with Bears?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the one for me, mate.
That killed
it. Serpent Horde with a disgusting 624 games played and maintaining a 59% win rate through that.
6-inch banners are really good.
It turns out. And from looking at the previous one, it was over 100 of those are allied with Mordor. And another 100 or so were allied with Farharad. There are even some, like a decent chunk allied with the Corsairs as well. They do ally really nicely because Suladan is a legend, so we can just chuck straight in. Yeah, they bring fight 4 spears, cheap cavalry, and a 6-inch banner to wherever they go. If those are things that you sound like you would like in your army, may I interest you in a Serpent Horde ally?
I think it just has very, very, very efficient builds at certain levels. Like a 450, you can go, well, obviously Suladan's a given. And then add a king at 500. Suladan Betrayer works out really, really, really nicely for like max warbands. Just those kind of levels, which Longshanks knows, it just slots in so nicely.
Yeah, 16 poison bows at 450, 500 is a significant amount. And then the reroll ones to wound, like across the army in combat. You just never have to faint, never have to worry about any of that nonsense. Serpent Horde. Having a lovely time. Yeah. Erebor Reclaimed. Wonder how many of this is allies. 287 games, 59% win rate.
Have you got another fun slide coming up?
No.
Okay.
I didn't even pocket it until just now. But yeah, so this is the Champions of Erebor faction for anyone who doesn't know. They can take Iron Hills Dwarfs with them. They ally really nicely with the Halls of Frandal. I believe. Is it Halls of Frandal what they ally nicely with?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where they're green with them, so you can take and Survivors they're green with, right? Yeah, because you can take like Foreign on Goat, Bard on Horse, and his kids, and then full warbands, and it's like 600 perfectly, and you get an Iron Hills line with Survivors behind it.
I think as we move through the year as well, we saw like a lot of lists hitting that like 5/5 level. So not only to fight 6 heroes become really, really, really good. The 5-6 heroes that can call free heroic combat, they're really, really, really good. And the Erebor Reclaimed has that gorgeous combo of, well, there's to me the big three, obviously Thorin, free heroic combat, Biffa, once you can get that free heroic move activated. If you're getting like really tough Iron Hills dwarves with a banner near them in all the right combats all the time, and Thorin is free to move at any point in that heroic move because he's not the one calling it. He's just picking out the juiciest spots to get free heroic combat. So they and then also just Dwalin just being a 5-6 blender man. Just means that you have 3 really, really great heroes to. Not all of them, but you can just choose from. They're all like the amount of troops that Dwalin can wade through, and can just a striking Dwalin. If you get, I mean, he can run into like Suladan and just go, yeah, may cost me a might or two, but I could probably take you in a turn. That's amazing. And he's what, like 110, 115 points? He's fantastic.
He's a good as
Sorry, rant over. I've got him blended by Champions of Erebor recently, and it was a scarring experience.
Assault on Lothlorien, 280 games, 59% win rate as well. Again, I have a fun graph for them later, so maybe we'll just sack them off and come back to them later.
Okay.
Also, Assault on Helm's Deep, same thing. 195 games, 59% win rate. I have a graph for them later too. So I'll leave them too. Dragon Emperor, though, 297 games, 58% win rate. So almost 300 games, 6% win rate. They are, a 4-2 bad boy.
4-2 guaranteed.
Yeah. Basically, would you like to do okay at events? Here's the Dragon Emperor.
It's actually really hard to it is really hard to screw up a game that hard with them.
Yeah.
When they are 5d6 and just re-rolling dice, like you really need to do something quite special to mark that one up hard. And your leader is so tough.
You march drum, put yourself in the place you want to be, you plonk it there, and you have a lovely time. Another one that I would wager people just got bored of.
Yeah.
It's not a very dynamic list.
No. I certainly played a lot more of it, like against it, rather back at like 6 months ago. I don't see it an awful lot now, despite us crowning the August FAQ the year of the Dragon Emperor, because it just felt like it was the only thing that got untouched. It is just bonkers good, really consistent, just hella boring. Mahood, 274 games, 58% win rate.
Dewey has played a lot of games this year. Well, Dewey and Aaron Cullen. They're like 120 each. That's amazing. Well done, boys.
There was over 100 allied with Harad games. Yes. They're not great on their own unless you're playing quite low points. Sean Creed played them an awful lot as well this year, because his are quite pretty. On their own at low points, they can be quite silly because you get them a Hood King, who is one of the single best murder machines in the game. If you want something dead, you point a free attack, strength 5, +1 to wound, because he's on a camel with a war spear, obviously. Hero at him who has strike. You point that straight at something, and then that thing dies. That is how science works. But you can also then run them with just a ton of strength for blowpipe boys. So if anything comes too close, you just get blowpipes to death. And at low points, we know that some kind of like mass shooting like blowpipes into something will vastly reduce its numbers very quickly. And if you can drop 4 or 5 dudes out of a 30-man list, that is a huge deficit to come back from. Also, camels are fun. and it was really nice to see people having them now that they've been reprinted last year or whenever they got put back on the MTO, didn't they?
I think it's definitely one of those things that when you see people talk about certain lists being an issue, it is the stuff that's like passive good. Like people wanted something to happen to the Dragon Emperor because it just sits there. It really wants dice. There's lots of it. It's D6, which is good. I have not heard a single person all year go, "Oh man, that Far Harad stuff is so busted," because it's aggressive, it's proactive, it's not enormous numbers, it's squishy, but it packs such a punch that even when you lose to it, it's kind of fun.
There's also a little bit to be said. So I agree entirely with that. I think there's a few things like, I mean, we're going to keep saying the Dragon Emperor, and probably even Arnor, where I could probably give an army to my little sister who has no idea how to play Middle Earth, to ring her at a tournament, and she'd probably win a game or two. Like, have literally zero idea of how this game works, other than there's pretty models involved. Like, she could probably still win a game or two with them. Camels and the hood stuff in general, I think she might struggle, but they are just really cool. It's a point while I'm here, just for funsies, I think a large amount of the armies on this list are also not the kind of army a beginner to the game would gravitate towards.
No.
So there is a little bit of who is using these lists. Farharad and Arnor were both incredibly price locked for ages. They are now back, but they're still the kind of army that you have to go out and get. Like, they're, it's an awfully niche army to pick up. Corsairs are hella pricey at the moment because they've been out of stock for ages. Helm's Deep assaults and defense. You've got like anything Legendary Legion, you've got to go and find the Legendary Legions, you've got to work out that they exist, you've got to slowly build them all up. Like, I just feel like a lot of these are, you're not seeing your Mordors and your Ministerius where everyone and their nan's got one, if that makes sense.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Next on the list is Corsairs. 145 games, 57% win rate. I feel like there would be more games of Corsairs played if the models were in any way, shape, or form available. I didn't realize how unavailable they were until a few weeks or so ago when people were clamoring for.
Our blessers just don't exist.
No.
Yeah,
it's one of my biggest regrets selling my Corsair army. I'm like, oh.
I am also having that when I saw someone trying to sell, like someone offering to buy like Arbalest like £15 a pop or something. I was like, oh, okay, I messed up. I had Reavers that I'd converted. I had Arbalesters. I had a load of Black Numenorians in there. Like, oh yeah, there was so much money on that. But all on the Vice Generation Shift bases, and yeah.
It still surprises me that it's actually that good.
Corsairs?
You get it? Yeah.
Spoken like someone who's not played against Corsairs enough.
Never lost to it. Played it like 3 or 4 times. Just beaten it.
Do you like throwing weapons?
Personally?
Yes.
Yeah. Little bit.
Would you like to receive an awful lot of them directly to your face?
I like 8-inch range throwing weapons. They feel a lot better.
They do, but they're a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And that's the Corsairs list. Here is 50 bajillion throwing weapons, and they're well cheap. Also, here's a load of crossbows, so you really do have to come to me. Yeah, there's like 2 ways of building it, really, isn't there? There's the throwing weapon spam variant, and then there's like the Black Numenorian frontline with Corsair with Arbalesters to like take an elevated position or sit out on a flank and ping off spears of people who fail to do courage tests to charge the Black Numenorians. Hey, Bert, do you like +1 to wounds? Because you know what? If you get into combat with the Corsairs, they will also get +1 to wound on you if they trap you, which they will because they already outnumbered you. Then they killed a load of you with throwing weapons.
I think, having played against it, I think I just found that the heroes are they're not bad. Like Dalamir's a really solid leader. Dogmar's 3 might's really handy. But I feel like it is one of those lists where you are relying on the troops doing such an unbelievable amount of work. Because none of that, your sort of really killy heroes, like you aren't really going to be. You don't really see the Hasharan around. Of course, the captain is not going to do a huge amount. That's try and get those weapons off. You're calling moves, so it's not very like striky. I think I just found that there's ways of making your Corsair player play quite passively. So yeah, I've just found it wasn't that hard a list to dismantle. So it's just surprising seeing it that high.
I feel like that is the voice of someone who plays a heavily D6 army, which has bigger throwing weapons than Corsairs do, and more might than them.
Maybe.
Because if you're a D5 army and you don't have lots of throwing weapons, boy, do they suck.
Or a D3 army. That's
or a
bad
D3
time.
army. That's a really bad time. Or even a D4 army with the crossbows and stuff. I also disagree a little bit on the heroes. I think the heroes are quite murderous if you let them. They will they really don't want to be 1v1ing other heroes, but they are such reliable little troop munchers. Yeah. The leader one, Dalamir.
Yeah.
Dalamir never gets trapped. Is that his one?
Never trapped while standing.
Yeah, never trapped while standing. Multiple attacks. They're fight 5. They're just reliable little munchies. He rerolls wounds as well, doesn't he?
He does, but again, it's that 2 might thing though, where you're not going to see him go for like a massive heroic combat play.
Oh no.
But yeah, as a reliable troop muncher, yeah, absolutely.
That is not his primary function. They're both of those two. Their primary function is to consistently remove 1 or 2 lads from the board, while your troops just attrition people. They are not a foreign on goat who is going to smush through things, or a bard, or something like that. They are just going to slowly pick apart. Like, they'll really reliably kill 1, maybe 2 guys a turn, and that's what they'll do.
Cool.
And then in the end game, when everyone's out of might, that's when they become funky. Goblin Town. Goblin Town's good. Just lads in it.
Yeah.
I like lads. You like lads. We all like lads. Goblin Town. Yeah. Goblin Town. Weight of numbers. .deck. It's not just numbers. Like we say numbers, but the movement shenanigans of Goblin Town with the mercs and the scribe, the king being an absolute wrecking ball, and pretty tough to take down leader. Gollum with his 1 ring being able to slip through and assassin things. They just play an awful lot of scenarios very well.
Especially in like veto situations where you can get rid of those horrible scenarios.
Oh, the rise of
Goblin Town
veto
definitely
this year. Yeah.
Goblin
that did
Town's
some
very,
things.
very good.
Yeah. Well, maybe Erebor Reclaimed as well. For the exact opposite reasons. If you're running Champions of Erebor into veto scenarios, you can probably have a fairly good time. Yeah, Goblin Town, mate. We could talk about Goblin Town all day, right, Henry?
Oh god, yeah. My screens, my wallpaper is of my Goblin Town at the moment. So it's just.
I love Grinner. He's my baby.
Grinner is so good.
I love Grinner so much. I have a spare Grinner next to me right now. Because as you know, my goblins are all on snow bases, but there is one here on a sandy base, just in case I ever feel the needs. Just I'm always.
I also like the thing that there will be somebody watching this. I don't know who you are, but you do need to know. Grinner has strike.
Grinner is a 35-point model with strike and 3 points of might.
And someone's going to either play with or against Goblin Town and hear, I'm so sorry for this, my voice going, Grinner has strike. And that is going to win or lose somebody a game. Because it can make a real difference.
I played, I think it was Nat, who had been using Goblin Town a little bit throughout, not last year, but the year before. And I played him at Reading, and he had Ents because he was just kind of like filling in for funsies, I think. And I used Goblin Town, and he didn't realise Grinner had strike. And I got Grinner and a Golem into one of the trees, and that tree became dead. Because not only does he have strike, he's strength 4.
So good.
He's so good. And his swap with me, because you don't technically like charge the models. If you pass enough courage, like if you pass a courage test with a goblin, you can then just swap with me, Grinner, into the combat, and you don't have to do a courage test. Science, innit?
That swap
Hate
me
it so
ability is so good for that. Or like it's the fact that you can do it at the beginning of like the shooting phase, and they're like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, he's over there now."
They all forget you can do it in the shooting phase. Everyone forgets you can do it in the shooting phase. Just swap with me into combat in the shooting phase, and then strike in the combat phase. Woohoo! Also, onto the prize, it is one of my favorite things to do is to give the thing to Grinner, and then just swap with me in the shooting phase and the combat phase, and now he's 6 inches over there somewhere. And you go, oh, he gone. Oh. Bonus points if you can sort of him to the king, and suddenly whatever hero you were trying to grab the prize with has now got a king in his face and got a Grinner's over there with the prize. I love Goblin Town. Maybe we get them back out there this year.
Yeah.
Talking of things we love, but Defenders of Helm's Deep.
I am probably responsible for bringing this win percentage down.
I was going to say that, yeah.
No, I think I got off to a fairly good start. I think it's one of those lists that it scales really well. You've got lots of ways of building at the higher points, but I've had a much better run with it at low points. Just those 2 warbands of Theoden and Gowling with Flag, you get your troops do such unbelievable work. Just with all the throwing weapons, like not bad numbers, but like really good fight value, largely D6. Gambling, keeping them moving, and then the fact that you do have Theoden to call strike. The list feels a lot more toolboxy than it is. The fact that your elves can go like 2-handed fainting, so against a trap model, they're killing on a lot of the time 4s or 5s, rerolling 1s. Like they're really killy. It isn't the most forgiving in the world, and I know it's one of those lists that I've seen some newer players take, and either through building the list not incorrectly, but maybe not the strongest way, or putting the D5 troops in the wrong place. But it's just a load of fun. I still can't believe that I've basically played nothing else for a year, and I'm still not bored of it. I can't wait to just go with it again for another whole year.
Everyone else.
So anyone, yeah, I know, but I'm not. I can't wait to play somebody else at Clash by Moonlight this year and just really ruin their day.
I cannot believe how many people have allowed you to play Clash by Moonlight in a veto situation with.
Oh, it was phenomenal. I think what's to show like how dynamic this list is. In the last like 13 months, I've also played 3 games of Contest of Champions with this list, and I've won all of them. First of all, I beat out Glorfindel allied to a front line of Vault Warden teams, and I managed to win that game because Theoden's might all disposable. Because Gambling is just going to call the moves. I beat out a Dragon Emperor at 550, and then recently beat out Theoden in Riders of Theoden. The list just gels together so well, and I encourage anyone else to give it a go. It's just good fun. And don't take Aragorn at low points. It's a terrible, terrible idea. Sorry.
Dark Denizens of Mirkwood, which hates to play against Defenders of Helm's Deep. So this is the Razgush Spider Queen Legendary Legion, which when that book first came out, a lot of people were like, "Ooh, this could be fun." Just because at a certain points level, again, it allows you to play the Spider Queen and still get lots and lots of models.
Is Dark Denizens not the army?
Oh,
That's
it
the
is.
army.
You're right.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Sorry.
Fellbeings.
Fellbeings.
So-
Yeah, Fellbeings
so-
was higher
so
up, but didn't get enough people. Yes. Sorry.
So when we say Dark Denizens, this is just the Spider Queen being allied in.
Yeah.
That's all this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Spider Queen is good.
I'll have you know,
yes.
I have lost our game to Dark Denizens of Mirkwood Pure.
Well, that was silly. Why did you choose to do that?
It was on Destroy the Supplies, and there were an awful lot of bats and spiders and things. They were everywhere. I did my hardest.
It's mostly that you can't shoot them because they're about 3 millimeters tall.
Oh, mate, it does my head in. Any table with terrain on, and it's just impossible to shoot any of them. It's bloody nightmare. This is probably just like, but like they're not. It's not awful. It just really doesn't want to play in a battle line. But if you are happy skirmishing around and having a bit of fun with them, they are fun. It's okay.
I can see this being a Henry army, just going up for like 600 points of just the Spider Queen and just all the Gribblies in the world. And then just no battle line, just come on, just attack your opponent from 5 different directions and then just roll dice and see what happens.
Just pick on things on the edge of lines and just kill them. It's like a nightmare. It's like a Teutoburg forest, you know?
The amount of times I've gone to the GW website and like tried to price it up, I'm like, it is tempting.
May I introduce you to War Games Atlantic? And their beautiful, beautiful spider box. All you need is some 40 and 60 millimeter bases and a dream. And you can make like 30 spiders from one box. It's fantastic.
Stop tempting me to build another army. I've got enough armies.
All right. So there's your spicy boys. Everything on there, according to Games Workshop's like 40k rules, needs a serious nerf. So yeah, that's the rules. Dark Denizens of Mirkwood, you broken legend army. These ones are the ones that officially suck. The Fellowship, that's a fact. It does. Yeah, you're right. 309 points, 309 games. Sorry, 44% win rate. It was considerably higher when you just looked at the allied games, where people are just like lobbing random Legolases and Aragorns and things into lists. The Fellowship on its own sucks. Stop trying to bring it and use it as an army. It's really fun in narrative games. It sucks.
That's actually like high. Like that's almost going 3-3 in events. That's amazing.
But if we go back here, you'll see that 109 games of that are Rivendell and Fellowship together, which equals Rivendell Knights with Aragorn or Boromir. And that has a 53% win rate. So a third of these are actually using Rivendell as their friends and doing quite good. So then if you take out, like, you can do some maths, right? Your win rate has dropped 10%. And you've lost a third of the games, and you've gained you know what I'm trying to say. It's
so pure is near like 41%.
Yeah, and that's without allying it into other things like Minas Tirith and Legolas or silly things like
that. Fine, it sucks.
Yeah, do you know what else sucks? I got scouts apparently.
That's a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this because it's actually an unbelievably easy army to build?
Yes.
And it's if you are a newer player, you go, oh, cool, a legendary legion. This must be great. And you can buy what 3 or 4 heroes, 2 boxes of archive, box of orcs, Bob's your uncle. Have a good time.
If you buy, yeah, it's that basically. It's just real easy to build, and fairly easy to pilot to an okay level. I mean, clearly not, but you know, you can win a couple of games. Like grab yourself an Uglut Scouts list, you will win a couple of games. Then if you're good with Uglut Scouts, you can win more. I think a lot of people take it outside of its points bracket. So if you take it at too low points, I don't think it performs as optimally. So people often think of it as a low point sweethearts, like 450. I think it struggles down there because you have this like soft underbelly of Mordor orcs that struggle to keep up with everything else, struggle to like it struggles to work. But once you get to like 600, it's pretty spicy.
So you're getting what like Odluk, Malher, Grishnak, and Snaga. So you got like 11 might. A lot of it can strike. You got your drum, at least one banner, and still like 50 models.
Yeah, I think it's 550 is like perfect. You don't need to chuck Snagger in. So like 550 is Uglut, Grishnak, Malher, full warbands, party time. If you go to 600, you chuck Snagger in. If you go to 650, then Snagger gets a load of boys as well, and then you start to like now you're cooking. But yeah, it can be good, but yeah, I think people take it slightly too low, in my opinion. Radagast Alliance, Eagles and stuff. 113 games, 43% win rate. It looks cool, but that's about it. Yeah.
Wait, didn't Misty Mountains come higher than that? Like when you showed it
Yes.
later on?
Yes. Do you know why that is? Radagast isn't very good. But Gwai here is. Basically. Gwai here gets allied into a lot of stuff. Radagast on Eagle is not the thing you want to ally into stuff. It would basically be my review of that. There was a large chunk of the year where Gwai here being locked into Lake Town was a thing, if you remember. It was never Radagast on Eagle. Rip Radagast. Yeah. Also, like, I think just monsters in general just aren't very good. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Our friend
I was trying to think earlier. I was trying to
What?
think like yes about how to make like Ents good. I was trying to think if Ents got something like even if you give like some ridiculous buff, like for every other Ent within 6 inches, you gain an attack. Like even if you got like that good, so they were that consistent at winning fights, they still fall foul to the striking hero, bunch of lads, secondary hero in there doing heroic combat, take out 2 at a turn. Yay.
I think
just not.
It comes down to thing I've mentioned it many times before. The values that we use being from 1 to 10 for things is not enough of a discrepancy. Fight value should go from 1 to 20. And monsters should all stay higher up on that fight value list. And then, yeah, sure, you could strike at them, but you need to roll quite well on your strike to get there. And a lowly like Grinner cannot outstrike, like shouldn't be able to strike higher than a Treebeard. Like I get that, like maybe, but he really shouldn't be able to. Like it's just no. That's my fix for it all. Yeah. Yeah, that's my one. Potentially the same thing with defense as well. But we'll see. Rangers of Mirkwoods.
Swingless.
Yeah.
It's just one of those. If you're really a 4-game event, if you're really good with it, you'll go 3-1. If you get to the best scenarios in the world, you end up playing like Lords of Battle and to the death. Then yeah, you may be able to do okay. But it's such a classic 2-2. The army just melts.
They don't have a banner onto the death.
Oh no, but there's just all the shots and 12 minutes deployment. It's just sad.
God, assassination against these is awful. Because you just go, oh, that's a nice hero you got there. I'm going to put 30 bow shots into it. Right. Now it's dead.
Yeah. But then you can just run into it with anything that's like defense 6 and has a banner or has a spear support, and they'll just lose fights and die very, very, very quickly.
I mean, that banner will still be there, but yeah.
It's it's just
yeah.
It's one of the most frustrating armies to lose to, because it's never going to win an event. Because it'll ruin your day, and then just lose the next game. This is what. If you are a person who likes taking Rangers of Mirkwood, screw you. Only because I mean this. I mean this. I would rather play Mordor Serpent Horde, because at least if that just beats you, it can go on to do well. But having your day ruined by this that is never going to do well in the tournament, that's the worst feeling in the world.
What if you took Rangers of Mirkwood to someone's first intro game of Middle Earth SPG?
Scumbag. just absolute scumbag. Get in the bin. This is one of those legions that just shouldn't exist. Like it pushes swingless to such a ridiculous degree. It's like coin tossing. It's so silly, and it's not interactive. I'd rather it just sucked. If it had a banner reroll, that'd be awesome. Give it a space bottom. I don't care.
I'd rather it was good. Like cracked, broken, good. than this.
Too.
Like give Legolas and Tariel both banner effects. Make it so it works in combat. Like give every single tree on the board a banner effect. Like
I would rather do that, because at least if I lose to it, it doesn't hurt that bad. This is just for you. Cool. I drew Rangers of Mirkwood round 1 at Assassination. Cool. My event's over.
Why does it hurt so much?
Because it's real. Because it's real, Tom.
Because it's not in the mix.
It makes me so angry. I've never even played against it, but it makes me angry in theory.
Oh, see, I sold all of mine because I hated it.
Yeah. Christopher Isengard instead. Sorry, that's just really upset me.
Vanilla Isengard. If you're playing Vanilla Isengard, you're probably either fairly new to the game or
Jay Acharya.
The last person I played with Vanilla Isengard was David Clubley. And I tabled him. It's
my original point stands.
Hey, Vince Wong has also used Vanilla Isengard.
My original carry on.
Look, a lot of people tried it out on the competitive scene after the Assault on Helm's Deep nerf happened. They thought it was better. I don't think it was proven to be better than Assault on Helm's Deep. The Isengard can be good. It has lots and lots of tools in its toolbox. It has Crabane, it has Saruman, it has crossbows, it has like Urukai, which is a really good like base level troop. But you have the Crabane, you have Saruman, you have Grima, you have all these lovely toys. You have access to Wild Riders and things like that. Like you have access to basically everything you'd ever need to play a game in Middle Earth.
Sorry, Carol.
The problem I find of it is that a lot of those things are just slightly too spenny for what you'd want them to be. So it's really hard to make a really, really, really efficient list with it. Because they're just slightly too much. An Urukai warrior is like just slightly too much, I think, compared to like a Moran Orc, which is basically the
What
same
I've-
but one less fight. But anyway, carry on, but go.
What I found with it is I have had events where the scenarios are predetermined. And I've looked at Isengard and gone, I can tackle those scenarios really, really well. I feel really good about those scenarios. I can build a list that can deal with that really, really, really well. There's a London one which gave a breakthrough, which but then like sees the prize. Brilliant scenario for it. Hold ground. You have the tools to get alerts in there. You've got all the march in the world. Really, really, really good. Saruman blast guys off, fighting the condenser, Green will go away. Lord of the Imps, when you've got this like central cluster thing against your opponent's leader, that's fantastic. But if you don't know what's coming, you can just have some very weak games where your list just doesn't. There's just better things out there. Basically, if you know what's coming, then those slightly expensive bits of tech, then they're worth it. But then when you have those scenarios where you don't know what's coming, if you just get a game of Lords of Battle or whatever, suddenly you're Crebain, you go, right, cool. Well, those can't go anywhere near combat because they're 4 free wounds and fight 2. That's silly. And you just lose out. Saruman's like, okay, that's with like 200 points, which isn't really going to do that much. So it can be great, but against a wider field in a 6-game event, you're just going to get outgunned a lot of the time by more efficient things.
Yes, what Bert said. Also, it's another one that, like, if I see Vanilla Isengard, I instinctively assume that you're fairly new, unless it's an experienced person who's taken like a toolbox list. I assume you're fairly new to this, and you've taken that because you didn't know any better and you just thought they were neat. Basically. Khazad-dûm. Yeah, they're just trash. So dwarfs are cool. These particular dwarfs are really cool. But you might correct me, I might be wrong. Awful lot of fight free in here.
Fight 3.
Are they not fight free?
Fight 4.
All 5-4. All 5-4.
Are they all fight 4?
All the
God.
warriors are fight 4. Like all the heroes are fight 6.
They're way
Pretty much.
Well, that's better than I thought they were. I thought I just assumed they were fight 3 this whole time. But what they are is surprisingly soft. In today's day and age of MESBG. There's an awful lot of +1 to wounds and an awful lot of wound reroll mitigation stuff, and yeah, they die a lot easier than you think they would. They're also quite expensive, I think, for what they are. But you use Khazad-dûm.
I did use Khazad-dûm a bit. It's the movement thing. It's like that love away. That extra inch would make such a difference. I feel like I'd be more satisfied if I had another inch to play with on a consistent basis.
So does your wife.
Thank you. You just can't quite do the things you need to do. You're missing those spear supports, and again, if your opponent is rolling 2 dice, like you can shield the dwarf warrior, great, but you're never. You're relying on your heroes to do a lot of the killing power. And things like Khazad-dûm, they're great, but it's 1 dice, maybe with a banner nearby, and it's strength 4, which is great, but you're rolling 1 dice to wound. It's so hard to really crack through things. I think the better build is where you can start spamming things. So you can like, I think at 750 I was running like 42 models, which is still like, it's fairly respectable, like D7 lads, but I just felt like there were some games where I just wasn't in contention, unfortunately. And that's with a sort of mixed arms force and Vault Warden teams. There's lots of stuff that is individually good. I think the Fight 6 heroes with +1 to wound, having a Strength 5 King's Champion who can piercing strike, it's really, really, really good. And I think I probably want to take it to 100 and just go, can I go 4 and 2 with it? I'd be really happy. I'd be really, really happy with that. But I just feel like I'm hamstringing myself because there'll be some scenarios where I just go, cool, I just don't have the tools to beat that. I think there'll be other lists will have games where you go, oh yeah, I got a bit unlucky, the dice failed me. With a Cat of Doom, I think you end up saying it wasn't the best scenario, or yeah, it wasn't the best matchup. You end up saying that a lot.
Yeah,
If that rings true for anybody else.
We've seen it. We've all seen it do well in the hands of very skilled players with things like Vault Warden spams, with a couple of like rangers with bows and stuff in the gaps, filling in like plugging holes, and just kind of like plonking itself and grinding out games. But that feels like one of the few ways of it. King's Champion, we love him. He's really good, and it upsets me that he's stuck in this list because it's really good, and the value you get out of him with the fact that he comes with 2 banners, but he represents value in that he has 2 banners and he's a fight 6 strength, strength 5.
So 5, 3 attacks with strike.
Yeah. Like he's a cracking lad, but everything else around him just isn't. Like he's good value, but everything else around him isn't, and it just is a bit. Yeah. It has spears in the fact that you've got the bow spears on the Bolt Warden teams. But obviously they're not the spears you'd want. And they're a bit spenny. I'm trying to think when else has it done. I've seen it do well with like Ranger throwing axe spam. Like 30 throwing axe rangers.
Like PJ Party dwarfs, basically. So
yeah, just a whole load of angry throwing axe dwarfs. I've seen that do some stuff.
It can, but you're still paying what, like 9 or 10 points for those models. And again, those models are like that army it's not that high on might, so you can't keep them moving. They can get bogged down. They are defense 5, and again and against D6. It's just that little. There's just so many things where you go, oh yeah, I was up against D6. I was up against 5/5. The guy had more might than me. It's just really hard to mitigate those things.
Would you like a nice, tanky, tough defensive army that's like D6 or above? There's a fair chunk of lads, and they're kind of like fight for defensive lads. Because there's also Eastlings, Minas Tirith, Isengard, like all of those things have Iron Hills. Like Iron Hills dwarves compared to Khazad dwarves is just an insult. Like in terms of the value you get per model.
yeah.
Talking about insulting value for a model. Ghosts. Both forms of ghost. Just get in the bin.
I don't know. How much is a ghost?
14?
40, yeah. So 15 with a shield, 16 with a spear and shield.
Yes. The King of the Dead is not very good.
No, for 100 points. If the King of the Dead was like, fuck it, 50 points, I still don't think Return of the King would be busted.
Well, still only like 3 extra models.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. You can make a model with like instant kill and like all the will of fate, 50 points, and it still wouldn't break a list. You could half his points value, and neither of you two turned around and went, "Oh, you can't do that." You can literally make him 50 points, and it'd be fine. It wouldn't do anything.
So when the army books and things first came out, ghosts were super strong. And now there's just, why are they fight free?
Yeah.
Why are they fight free? Like, honestly.
What fight would you have them? Do you think they've been practicing?
Yeah. Show me a fight that a ghost loses in a film.
Yeah, that's because
Show me a fight where they lose.
fight in a movie where Ghostbusters.
No. One of these 6 films specifically, please.
Oh, right, okay.
Like, show me where they lose a fight. They're the same fight as a Moran and Orc, right? They're the things they're fighting in the film, and we watched them go and sweep
And
through
it's
the film.
is my least favorite scene of the entire, like of all 6. Actually, that's not quite true.
That's not
the
true.
trilogy is my
That's-
least favorite scene.
That's not a true fact.
No.
Do you not remember that bit in The Hobbit where Thorin gets confused by gold and there's some really awful CGI?
No, the worst scene in The Hobbit is the random GoPro shot in Battles Out of Bond. That is the worst moment of all 6 movies. It's so jarring.
The bit where Legolas hops up the bricks.
No, I'm still
like
fine.
Mario style.
I'm still no.
Where
I'm
everyone
still
in the
fine with
cinema when I went to go see that film went at it.
No, I'm still fine with that, but the GoPro shot really upsets me.
That absolutely just Legolas in general. Any Legolas on Ravenhill just does my nut in. Just the entire section of Legolas running around Ravenhill, like, "Ooh, I'm upside down on a bat. Ooh, I'm jumping up and down on the things. Ooh, look at me go." Yeah.
Say
anyway.
that's comparable to him sliding down on Mumuk's like.
No, that was sick.
It's fine.
Riding down an Uruk-hai shield at Helm's Deep, sick. Hanging upside down on the back, going, "Look at me, I'm on a bat." Lame. It's just a fact. It's just you can't. Yeah, it's just science. Anyway, the ghosts are just really bad. Yeah, I would have them be fight 4. Absolutely. Well, you know what I'd have them be? I'd have them be fight 4 in a world where everyone else's fight is now fight 5. So I would have Orcs, Moran and Mordor stay at fight 3. I would have Warriors of Minas Tirith go up to like fight 5. I'd have Ghosts stay at fight 4, but I'd have like the Aragorns of the world be like fight 12. On my 1 to 20 scale. I think that's because I agree that they shouldn't be as good at fighting as an elf or an elite warrior, because they're not an elite warrior, but they are better than an orc.
Agreed.
I think, yeah, or make the heralds do something, man.
I just had to look up what they do because I forgot what they did.
They give they give will to the king as might, but they don't give it to him.
He can call heroic moves.
You know what they're not? You know what they're not?
Banners.
A fucking banner. A fucking banner.
But they give resistance to magic. That thing that ghosts apparently.
How many will does the King of the Dead have?
Exactly.
Thanks, guys.
12.
Yeah, it's just it just angers me. That the Herald thing. Do you know how many games we played when we first got heralds in the world before we realized that they weren't banners? At least 2. And that's too many. We just assumed they're about. Look at it. It's a banner. It's clearly a banner. People use them as banner bearer models. They are clearly a banner. Why are they not a banner? Urgh.
Like tangent rant. Also, when they did the clear plastic things at Christmas, they didn't do the banner bearer.
Oh no.
They left that as the metal.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's lazy. Yeah, basically, they suck. They're I think one of the other problems with them is they've got that little buff attached to water movement and stuff.
Hmm.
But everyone hates water, so you never see it on the bloody table.
If you
I-
made ghosts 11 points base and made the king 50 points,
Yeah.
would they become busted, or would people still go?
How
"Nah, it's
many
all
can
right"?
you now get at 500 points? Write me a 500 point list.
450, 40. No, 450.
Live maths with Bert.
Oh, I hate. Yeah, like 45 models, because you don't need the warband leader.
Okay.
So there we go.
I think that's really good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really good.
That's with no war gear, so maybe like 37, 38.
Yeah, that's quite good, but
I wouldn't even
With-
say like. Sorry.
It's not busted. It's got 1 point of might and it's fight 3 with no banner.
yeah. Yeah. I still think it's quite good.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. But I wouldn't go, "Oh my god, that's game breaking."
Hmm.
It is a significant threat, and having some terror mitigation would be a good thing to build into your list. But like that's but it wouldn't be game breaking. So you could make
That-
the king 50 points and
I
make him
think
3
that
points
would
cheaper.
become a proper stats checklist to coin a phrase, to steal a phrase from other games. And if you cannot deal with that, you just lose. Because if you something like Army of Lake Town just loses to it.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of people just go sat at home going, yeah, good. But yeah, the fact that you're just never ever charging it, like ever in your life. And yeah. Anyway, ghosts, yeah, just make them good somehow, please. I also reckon this number is gonna drop right off in 2024, because in the previous years they were in the Pelennor Fields box. So a lot of new people had access to them, and you could get them up to like 500 points straight out of the box. Like, you bought yourself a King of the Dead model, added it to the Pelennor Fields models, you were there. Now I think it's going to be different. Although there would be a good battle host if you just put the plastic King of the Dead kit and then 2 Army of the Dead boxes in. That'd be quite a fun battle
And,
host.
and the 300's making good value.
No, because that'd make it too good.
Army in a box.
That's
Army
not
in a
very
box.
Games Workshop of you. Is there anything else you would do to any of these things to make them better? Like, would you do anything to range the Merkwards? No, blow it up. Or give the heroes banners. That would make it even better. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like Khazad-dûm just needs a slight rehaul, like to make it a bit more modern. If that makes sense.
Give them a Legends Legion. Give Vault Wardens teams on their shields essentially heroic defense at all the times.
Yeah.
Vault shields only wounded on D6 at all times.
You just make the list like immune to effect that give +1 to wound. That'd be a really cool Legion bonus. So like Lancers don't care, mate.
That would be quite fun.
Magic swords don't care, mate. I'm a dwarf. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Call it the Mithril armor or something rule. Yeah.
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 For 1 point more, they can just not be affected by it, or it's even or just free. Who cares? Right. So we mentioned this earlier. This is a graph, but you love graphs. So this is Assault on Helm's Deep usage over time. So the yellow line is the play rate, and the blue line is the win rate. So February FAQ happened, and they dropped right down because that was when they made it to reroll just once.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then over summer, it went back up, and then it came back down again. Yeah, where people went, no, it's still good, I promise. And then it wasn't.
Was it not August?
Oh, I don't think it was August, was it?
Ooh. Let's have a look.
The minimum range was last like August. No, because the reroll ones was still a thing. Because
it was January because it was January because
February.
I got my 6 inches minimum T-shirt for City of Kings.
It
was January.
February.
It was January. February.
I know it's February because Lee was still around then. Rip. So that's Assault on Helm's Deep. So yes, that FAQ did drop it right down, but then it recovered quite well, and hasn't really the win rate's come down a little bit, but it's not absolutely decimated it. So good job balancing that list, team. You can have a good job rating from me. I don't know about anyone else.
I still think it plays very well into the current meta. I think that's what it plays very well into Dragon Emperor and Mordor Suladan if you're not into the Shadow Lord. So it's still, but these are one of the things where it plays well into those lists. However, I think now that the shooting isn't as consistent, I think the lack of strike, the lack of might, the lack of 5/5 troops, it does hurt the list a lot more. So you do see, I think, a slightly more. I think this is why players are looking to take things like not Assault on Helm's Deep with named heroes with strike. It just gives you it gives you other options because it's not as good as the one thing that it was unbelievably good at.
Yeah.
So no, more balanced. I like it.
Yeah.
So now it's fun to play against.
Behold, Army of Lake Town.
That's so miserable.
Yeah. No
people
comment.
were saying it, and people were saying it wasn't a problem.
Yeah, it was chilling out at like an 80% win rate for a while. And yeah, it was quite good. But then yes, FAQ errata stuff happens, and interestingly, their ally errata was August, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, so it was tanking way before that anyway.
I think this is I think people just got bored of it. It got such a bad rep. I don't think it was that much fun to play play with or against.
How dare
It's just one of those I played against it once at 700, and so it was a big late time contingent with Círdan and Glorfindel and Legolas. I'm just there oh come on man, what the hell? You got a leader who I can't score points with. You have blinding light. You have really good shooting. You have Legolas teched in there as well. What the bloody hell is this list? And 5/5 spear support and an actual banner for banner VPs. It's just it made it way too easy to create an all bases covered list. I'm so glad that it's dead.
I think the starting decline came around this summer drop is because a lot of the events over the summer are higher points, and it wasn't quite as easy to just make it instant win. It was doing awfully well in the right hands, but people also were then that's when all the copycat lists started coming out, and people, I mean, sorry, I tried. I could not make Elfie Boys and Lake Town work that well. I just the Guy here one was I don't know how does this work? Just wasn't for me. Toolbox lists, I'm not very good at them. We've learned that. But yeah, I think it'll it's good at low points still. It's very good at low points still. I've just won an event with it at 600 points. But the when you start taking it up to those higher points, it just drop off massively. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. Assault and Loft. That also had a little slap and a nerf back. In August, was it as well?
Yes.
It really was a little slap though. I think people overreacted to that one really hard.
Well, people just
I
threw
think-
it out the window in August, didn't they? Like,
Yeah, instantly. I really don't think the list is that different or that bad.
what it is now is how it always should have been. It was not. I don't believe it was ever designed to be a bow spammy list. The bit that makes it good is the fact that it's dark, so you can get the spiders and bats and things where they need to be. That's what is good about it, not the fact that it has like the +1 to wound all the time on the shooting. That's an added happy little side effect, but that's not what made the list good, in my opinion. Like originally, it was a happy little side effect. It made it really unfun to play against because people went, "Oh, I'm just gonna spam the bows," and that will be good. Which is really unfun to play. But what's really, really good about it is being able to get your key pieces like your spiders and your bats and your soft, squishy shaman heroes right up to where they need to be without threat of being shot. I played against someone the other day who had like essentially it was a Dark Denizens list, but in Assault and Loft. So he just had a load of spiders and bats, but in Assault and Loft, so we could just walk them up without being shot. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I think it'll sort itself out a little bit. It's still good. Just Muska having to be your leader makes it not like it's another one of those ones where like it's like the Lake Town Master having to be your leader. It now means that you have like it's balanced again because the scenarios like Contest of Champions help balance the game. Because if you play a 6-game tournament and there's a 1 in 3 chance or whatever of you playing Contest of Champions, taking the Master as your leader or taking like Mushka as your leader, it presents a threat because that's a risk to you. It helps balance the list a little bit.
I think a lot of this is also just the community being self-regulating. I think it's one of those lists that the mirror match is monstrous. And just really, really grim. It's a lot of moving parts. I think a lot of people hated playing it because if it was piloted by somebody who wasn't sure what they were doing, it was a very slow process. And it's a lot of. I think any list where people just go, "It's not your good." It's like there's nothing you can do about it. You can't shoot me, and I can shoot you. You cannot interact with that rule at all. I think people just didn't like. I don't think I liked that feeling that hard. It's good, but I think people just. I think if you can tell that people just don't like playing against your list again and again and again, a lot of people just turn around and go, you know what, I don't like this feeling. I'm not going to play it.
It's the audible groans when you turn up to an event and people go, "What you got?" And I'm like, "Assault and Loft," and I go, You still get it a little bit with Lake Town where you go, "What you got?" Lake Town. Dragon Emperor, you hear it as well, don't you? What you got? Dragon Emperor. Ranged Affiliate had the same problem. Like before it got errated, it was the kind of thing where you turn up and go, "Oh, you brought Rangers Affiliate. I hate you." But yeah, we'll see what it does. Now that it's been changed a little bit, hopefully just brings it back to like a sensible level where it's it's still good. It's just less silly. Let's go with that. And then the Bears.
Bears.
Now the Bears change happened a while ago, didn't it?
Yes.
No, was that January? No, it was August.
Is that August as well?
That was August. But
That was August.
But seriously, that event, that doubles event in Bristol, I think was around March.
Yeah.
Seriously, and it killed it. People had no like it was such a dull
Yes, because it's in March
experience.
this year as
So
well.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
genuinely, that event killed it. People hated it. Like there were so many Bears players there. So now the only people playing Bears now are people who are like new to the game. Oh, Bears are cool, and you go, okay, well if you think so, then fine. But you don't see any like people who've been around the scene going, I still want to play Bears. Like even cheesy Sam Grattan doesn't want to play Bears anymore. It's just dull. It's just dull. And people have worked out how to beat them fairly comfortably in a lot of situations. So then it turned into this kind of Rangers of Mirkwood kind of thing, where you go, well, you're playing Bears. Okay, fine. I guess we'll find out what scenario it is. Oh, it's Lords. Oh, okay, cheers. Oh, it's Recon. Oh, fantastic. And any game where it's decided by the scenario that heavily isn't that much fun.
Henry, you like Bears?
I do like Bears.
You did like Bears. You're wrong, Henry. You did like Bears.
Still do. No, yeah, it's just like it's like you said, but like it just gets to a point where you're just playing very much the same tactics every single game, and you're just like, oh, cool, I'm just gonna do this, and this will happen, and oh no, this happened now. But yeah, it's like, I mean, even with that like August nerf, where it's like, oh, now it's 6-ups, on the bear saves. It didn't do much. It didn't do anything really. It's just like they still have it at the end of the day, and it's still two big scary bears that you got to deal with. You know. Also, I'm just looking at this win rate.
Bizarrely, the FAQ came out, and then people went, "Oh, okay, maybe we can actually carry on playing it." Like it actually improved things.
Well, I think it's quite fun that the play rate goes down and the win rate goes up at the same time, because that's people who are all the people who picked up Bears because they thought it was a casual, easy win type list. When cool, yeah, I'm just gonna leave this behind. And all people who are good at Bears carried on playing Bears. That's my rough guesstimation there.
It's not an army I'll be picking up anytime soon.
It's really upsetting because I have a Bale and I looked at it a lot when it first came out. I was like, that looks like fun, and then it became like super cheesy, scummy stuff, and everyone was like, no, never taking that. And then it was like, oh, now everyone's bored of it. But now, maybe I do. Who knows? Give it 6 months. Maybe I'll pick up some Bears just for fun, just for that one time. But
might have to dust mine out. It's just over there.
I do hope you like barging. It's like a good Indian meal, mate, full of onion bargies, isn't it? It's just.
Again, yeah.
Right. And then we did the 2023 rankings. So I've done the top 20 up here. And then I've also put us three at the bottom, just where we belong, just for some fun comparison stake. So congratulations to Jake, who won the GHL in the end. Absolutely ridiculous set of scores between him and Farmer. I mean, I suppose you have to throw Walker into the conversation too, but I don't want to.
But we're not going to.
Yeah, we're not going to. Yeah, basically. Yeah. And then everyone was also there. So Rawson, Farmer, Walger, Jay Acharya, Jakob, Ed Bull, Ben Haslam, Michael Bradford, Ivan Sheehan, Ali King, Matt Light, Baronet, Christian Lewis winning best newcomer, Adam Sirens, Sam Grattan, Wiggins, Dan Hawkins, the one-day merchant, Aaron Pullen, Stephen Denby, and John Partridge, and then Bert down at 45th. Only like 20 points behind John up in 20th. Just a lot of people in that kind of category. And then me all down in 71st. Still only 40 points off John. and then Henry down in 149th in your first year.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a good year. For me personally, I didn't get out as much as I wanted to because of work and because I broke myself early in the year. So wasn't coming to many events. Hence the fact that I only went to 8 tournaments in the year. But yeah, did all right a couple of them. Was that 5th or 6th at Into the West and a couple of decent like podiumies, but yeah, did all right. Better this year, hopefully.
Well, off to a pretty good start. Having you've already won more tournaments than you did last year.
I have already won more tournaments than I did last year. You're not wrong. But I did much worse at Into the West, so because they took my foreign from me, my baby foreign. They took him from me.
And and 7 other people in the top 10 into the West last year.
Yeah, because they all copied me. My list. Stole it from me.
Henry, how do you feel about last year?
I am just surprised where I got to. Like Tom said, it was my first year. So, and also I went to 18 tournaments, which was
I got this data, I looked at that and went, holy shit, 18
Yeah.
Henry. 18 Henry.
I just love a good game.
Just a nice lad, isn't it? It's all right.
No, it was a great year. Like that was much better than I first expected. I had a great time. Just gonna do hopefully the same this year. Don't know about 18 tournaments, but I'm gonna do...
Nah, mate, 20, easy, no problem.
Come on, we're not Wiggins. Yeah, it'll be good. I'd like to get back up in the mix this year, but we'll see what happens. I think my thing was I'd like to win an event again, and I've already done that, so that's all right. But yeah, we'll see. It had been a while. So yeah, we'll see what happens for the rest of the year. But yeah, I think I have good feelings about Team Atomic this year. I think we'll do all right. Get back up into the top 10. We're obviously not going to crack these super teams up at the top where they're just signed
fake teams.
like just
fake
acquired
teams,
people from
random...
across the country for no real reason. But just our plucky local lads, we'll take them on. But yeah, it should be good fun. It should be a really fun year. That's the best thing.
Going to Into the West as part of like a big crew. It was such a joy.
Yeah, and I did so much worse because of it.
I think it's just that even day one, like bouncing down to a crew, going, "I got another one." It just felt wonderful. And how people to go grab breakfast with, like, it just like, and knowing that you're competing as a team and you actually are a team that hangs out in a shop and sees each other for casual games. It feels so real. And it's just a really cracking bunch of lads who are now quite good at SBG. We have a bunch of lads who are quite good at SBG.
When I was doing this as well, just like it may mean something to you two, but it might not mean anything to anyone at home. Ben Jeffrey did crack the top 100 in his first year as well. He came literally 100th. But yeah,
he also won. He also won an event.
He did win an event. Yes, he won an event last year, and I did not. Yes, that happens. But yeah. So we'll give it a go. We're also representing a lot down at Dewey's 80, the Rainer Mountain. I think we're not far off 1/5 of that event being our Mandem, which is quite cool.
Give us 80 points.
The Turn of the Tide one I've got, I'm hosting next weekend. We're between a third and a half, I think. But then it's our home event, so it should be. And there's a doubles event as well, isn't there, coming up where we've got a good 4 or 5 teams going to. So yeah, it should be good. We'll start the year off right and we'll see what happens. And then just a little dickies for 2024.
But
one book, multiple books. The floodgates are open, sir. I think.
I mean, sorry.
So I'll go first, and then there you go. So my little hat on. There's a few things to look at. One is having had some late night conversations in a bar with some people. There is a lot of stuff that has been worked on that we haven't seen yet. There is also a lot of them got shipped across to the Old World team to help with Old World. Old World is out now. Mr. Priestley, who is the head of the MESBG team in general, said recently in an interview that he says it's going to be a really big year for all 3 of his game systems, which is Old World, this, and something else. Can't remember what. And that licensing situation is now all sorted. So I would expect that we have a fairly big year. I am hoping for, supplement book wise, something along the lines of at Arnor, Return to Arnor, with Arnor, Angmar, Last Alliance stuff, and including Arnor coming back into the range. They'd be foolish not to do. It's like one of the few things that hasn't ever come back into the range now. Arnor and Gullivar and people all just need an MTO. I would also like to see something like the old Shadow and Flame book, where we went into Moria. Off the top of my head, I think there was also some Lothlorien stuff in that book, but I can't remember. Or was it Bombadil and that were in there as well, weren't they?
Yeah, it comes up.
But yeah, they're just Khazad-dûm, Moria, general stuff. Both of them could do with a bit of fun. Like, there is stuff to be added to all of that stuff. And then a revisit to Minas Tirith. They're the 3 things that I would like to see happen. If I get 1, maybe 2 of them, I'll be very happy with the year. So that's my musings. Oh, and new battle hosts. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
They told us they were going to try and do them for everything they could. You can do Army of the Dead right now. So you got plastic King of the Dead, plastic Free Hunters, plastic Warriors of Dead troops. So that's, you can chuck those things in a box. You can put the king and 2 boxes of troops. You can do whatever you want. That's a box. You can do Moria goblins with a Balrog and some goblins. That's a box. You can do plastic Elrond, plastic Rivendell Knights, Last Alliance Warriors. There's a box. Yeah, there's 3. Like, I'm sure there's more if I can be bothered to think about them. But that's just off the top of my head. It would be minimal effort, but it would be cool. That's all I'm saying. A Mumuk and some stuff in there. That's too expensive. But yeah. Henry, what are you thinking for 2024?
Probably about the same. Like, probably in terms of supplements, like an Arnold thing, that would be nice. Like anything like second AG. So like Khazad-dûm, obviously Last Alliance, because that was like rumored ages ago, wasn't it? Like
Last Alliance and Foreign's Expedition books
that's it,
were both
rumored
a lot. Yeah.
If they give us Goblin Town Archers, I will be.
Stop it right now.
Such a good place.
Go away.
Even if they only hit on a 6.
Don't tease me. but yeah, and all just like some general like refreshes, like updating the Rivendell warriors and stuff from the old ones, or heaven forbid, like plastic kits of some of the old, like even Shire or something, because be cute in it.
I'm a big believer that I do not think we're going to get plastic troops that haven't already existed, like ever. But yeah,
If they did like a £16 for 4 thing for like Forge World Arnold Warriors, I think that would probably they'd make enough money to build an additional wing to like GWHQ.
so that's why I want, like, if you go back to Minas Tirith and finish the Pelennor Field stuff, like give Minas Tirith a legendary region for Christ's sake. Like defenders atop the wall or whatever. Buff the bolt throwers. Let's go.
Okay. Bob throwers. The one I would love to see that would actually be really, really, really cool. Would be the Huron and Imrahil charge.
Yes.
Out the gates. Ooh. That would be phenomenal. And that to me, that's a legion which, if that could play, if people knew that it was like a 52% win rate, you would just see it because it'd be so cool.
It would be glorious.
Ozzy, I think, off Too Many Minis, he did it as part of his like Throne of Skulls, and it just looked stunning. It just looked stunning, and it's such a cool list to play. So I'd love to see that. It's just one of those really cool theming lists.
Because you could also then do Forge World sculpts for some more of the fiefdom stuff. You could do Fountain Court Guard or Citadel Guard, Forge World. You could do a Forge World Boromir.
Please.
Forge World Boromir with banner embossed onto it so it's easy to paint.
Please.
But God, how glorious would that be? On a scenic base where he's like standing tall on top of some ruins.
Ooh.
Like the ruins that they've got from the Faramir, because they've like you've already got Faramir, Madril, and Damrod on those fallen ruins. Chuck Boromir up high on some, bit like Groblog, but higher. You'd sell so many of them.
You know what I find quite funny that like, none of the three of us have meant as a prediction, or even that we're vaguely looking forward to.
What?
Rings of Power models.
Yeah, in a bit. No. Look, it will be interesting to see if it happens. I don't think there's enough to do Rings of Power armies yet. We've got the survivors of whatever that town was called, which is basically survivors of Lake Town but different. With the lady who was somehow good at stuff, but I don't really understand why she was good at stuff.
Should be like 6. It'll be fine.
Yeah, she'll be obnoxiously good for no real reason. You've got all the baddies, like all the orcs with the guy who was a baddie who's like I don't even know what they're called. But
Sauron.
No, Sauron was different, wasn't he?
It was the bad elf.
Yeah, the naughty elf. Adder. You've got the black elves.
Racist.
No, that's a fact. That's what they were. They were elves that were black for some reason. Which would be fight 20 at least. Based on his ability to like spiral the whip. Like if Bolg's fight 7, I reckon that guy was more funky than Bolg was. So therefore,
you'd have the Numenorians with the deep strike ability. They can go the wrong direction the whole game, and then appear exactly where they need to in like turn 7.
Numenor Cav, that would be good.
Numenor Cav would be glorious.
Strength
4 bows. What?
I would actually say like Numenor Cab is one of the few things where I would turn around and go, that would actually be really cool. But I think that's the only thing where I'd go, that'd be really cool.
If you okay, that's in the Legendary Legion book though. For well, yeah, the Rivendell,
Alliance,
the
yeah.
Lost Alliance Legendary Legion stuff, where you give them strength 4 bows.
You can see like 16 of them turning up at the Battle of Unnumbered Tiers at 1,000 points.
Yeah.
And I don't care. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, like and then some new dwarf profiles will be cool, but like there's just I just don't think there's enough to do a whole book.
Gandalf.
Yet. I reckon after series 2 we'll have enough to do a whole book. Oh, strength 6 wargs. The wargs in Rings of Power, they were like OP. They look like Pumbaa from the new Lion King live action thing, though.
Oh yes. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about them. Oh,
That's
yeah.
why when I was watching, I was like, Pumbaa's here. Yeah.
Oh,
Hakuna Matata.
you got the like not hobbits as well.
Yeah, but they're not an army, though, are they? Like, what are they going to do? They can't. And I know we say the hobbits aren't an army, but like, what are they going to do? Like, I can't even imagine what rules for them look like. You know,
They could advertise Premier Inn really, really, really well.
You've got those guys with like antlers on their back that I don't think we ever actually saw again.
Oh, like the hunter blokes.
Yeah,
Yeah, they look pretty cool.
they look like they'd be really goofy as hell kits, but I'm into it. The weird pajama ladies who we know nothing about.
Oh, the bad ones that
the ones
not
who we all
Gandalf.
thought were friends, but then they turned out to be naughty. Oh no.
Yeah.
Who made Gandalf angry. Yeah.
But he's not Gandalf, Tom.
No, he's Sauron. You don't remember? We all decided he was Sauron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, just yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, there's just not enough stuff there for me. Yeah. Give it season 2. We'll have to suffer through season 2. Hopefully, they'll have like already told people at Games Workshop what happens in season 2, what the models are, or something, so they can have it ready to go. Season 2 happens, then they do a timed launch which has exclusives, like an exclusive starter box just for Amazon. Because then Amazon, that's probably part of the negotiations, right? That's my science. And then we bang. That could be fun.
The other thing that is happening this year, I don't think it'll have that much of an impact because it's so fleshed out. Is the animated Rohirrim movie, which I am really excited about.
Oh, we could get a Hammerhand legendary. Oh wait, they've already done that.
We could get some. Yeah, we could get like Aeol. Oh no, hang on.
No.
We could get Aeol. We could get Sons of Aeol dismounts.
A boy can dream. But yeah, that is happening towards the end of this year. It's Christmas, isn't it? With AON narrating.
Miranda also is still gonna be a voice in it, which is gonna be amazing.
No, I think they're narrating, aren't they? They're telling the story. Is that how they're doing it?
I think so.
Rohan.
Yeah.
It's called the Ride of the Rohirrim just to really upset everyone because that's what Theoden's bit's called. But they've called it like the Ride of the Rohirrim something, but it's not. It's
Yes.
Helm of Hammerhand. But that's because none of the dirty casuals know what Helm of Hammerhand is. But then it shouldn't be for the. It's for me. It's not for all the casual people. I want to watch it. I want it to be right.
He's to be voiced by Brian Cox.
Which one? That's important.
I
assume not Professor.
Not the one who likes.
No.
Not the one who likes space.
Just imagine.
Helm's Deep is really, really big.
For a second, I thought it said Brian Blessed, and I was like, yes.
Oh,
It's like Dave on steroids. Just
that would be so good. Why not? Oh, I'm
Yes,
disappointed.
Brian Blessed's already done that kind of part in Prince of Thieves.
yes, he has.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
Except he ran into one lot of them and didn't call a heroic combat. So then he lost priority the next turn and then he
Well,
died.
then they should have used a legend region where he gets some 3.0 might, the silly goose.
Should have struck.
But yeah, that's gonna be fun. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Because it's upsetting that they've already done a Helm Legion. If they hadn't already done a Helm Legion, you could be quite confident that you'd get another one. Oh, you'd get a Helm Legion and you'd get a Baddie Legion and whatever else. But because they've already done a Helm Legion,
we get a Dundred. Oh no, hang on.
yeah, exactly. Like they've done it. You could get a Defenders of Helm's Deep Legion, but a Baddies. Baddies defending Helm's Deep. Yeah,
They could do Pelennor Field.
but yeah, we'll see what happens. Right, this is going to be almost 2 hours long at this point, so we should probably wrap up our ramblings about 2024. We'll try and be more regular, lads. I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll bring it back. Hopefully towards the end of January, where we can talk about all the cool things we've done in January. Spoilers, I won an event. It was great fun. And Henry's going to win an event on next Sunday.
I won. I managed to win day one of an event, and then fluffed it.
Yeah. And then you're like, Tom, take my ticket to this event and go and win it for me. And I did.
So I don't know how to play 600 points.
Neither do I. But it turns out I do, because it was veto and no one knew. Right. Sweet. Thanks for sticking with us, lads. I'm going to stop recording now.
Okay. Much love.
I don't think I did another slide. Oh, I didn't. Okay, cool. Bye.
Bye.